Camille.
I'm Laurence Lafond-Beaulne, and we're Milk and Bone.
And you're listening to the Capsule podcast on liveinlimbo.com.
Fruity lipstick on your cheek. I haven't been home in a week. I'm cool with that. I've got the sun to worry about. Let's get started. Truth or dare. A million flowers in my hair. I'm cool with that. I've got the beach to worry about. I've got the beach to worry about. I can feel the sand in my skin, and my drink is kicking in. And if you ever feel like leaving her, I'll be here drinking my coconut water.
Hey baby, it's me just calling to say hi. I can't stop thinking about you. I just want to see you again.
You're listening to Capsule on liveinlimbo.com. My name is Sean Chin, and this is an adventure into music, film, and pop culture. Milk and Bone is a new music project from Montreal, Quebec, Canada, and are one of the coolest electronic pop bands I've heard in a while. There's a lot of buzz going around this group lately. They've been featured all over the web from Vice, Exclaim, and our friends over at Ride the Tempo. Well, thank you so much, Camille and Laurence, for joining me today. They are from the great, amazing new group called Milk and Bone. So first of all, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Your song Pressure at this very moment has over 1,016,000 listens to on SoundCloud. Congrats on
Yeah.
that.
We went like 1 million to 1,016,000 in a day. That's really cool.
That 1 million of anything is a huge number. So I guess being a relatively new band that is making solid buzz on the internet, tell our listeners a little bit about yourselves and how you came together and formed Milk and Bone.
Do you want me to start, Laurence?
Yeah, let's go. You
Okay.
did.
Well, Laurence and I met when we were in school studying music together. Laurence was studying jazz vocals, and I was studying jazz vocals as well, but also composition. And that's when we actually met. But we're also tour musicians. So, we play with other bands. We get hired for studio sessions and such. And that's where we actually started to work together because we were hired on the same bands and stuff. And then we just felt like our voices, worked well together, and we liked to work together because we're friends also. And yeah, like a year and a half ago, or I think 2 years, we just decided to start a band together because we like being together and working together.
That's awesome. And I guess, Laurence, how is the collaboration between you two? How would you describe that connection?
It's pretty awesome because, first of all, mainly we were best friends in real life. So to get to do music with your best friend and travel with her and to be the two of us all the time, sometimes it's hard, but most of the time it's really fun. And it's fun to be a team. And I think we're really lucky to be able to do that together.
Would you say your personality traits are similar, or are they different, but they still complement each other?
They're very
They are
different.
very different.
Okay, so tell us about that.
All right. So Camille is like the in the work field. Camille is like the business girl, and she takes care of the project a lot on the image we want to work on for internet, on all the social media. I'm so bad at it, so thank God she's there for that. She's really, really good at it, and I'm not that much. So I'm more of the, I don't know, maybe social person. I like to talk with people, meet people, and so that's but in real life too, like we deal with everything in a pretty opposite way, I'd say. So it's
Laurence is very she's a very chill person. She's, and I'm more anxious. I have like anxiety and stress in my body, and I like sometimes like freak out about things, and it's so good that she's there to like calm me down and to like bring me back to earth and go like, okay, just let it go, you know. And I think that's why we're able to, you know, be friends but also work together. I think if I was in a duo band with like an other me, I would absolutely kill myself. But it's just like just because she's there and we're so different, I think that's why this is actually working out, you know?
Yeah, and we know each other so well, so
Yeah.
it's easy. Yeah.
That's a great story. I love hearing stuff like that. So I guess your band, the music for your project is called Milk and Bone. And when I see and I hear that, I think there's something philosophical about the color white and these pure tangible things, objects. Tell me the thought process behind choosing this name, because I like it a lot.
You know, like I think the thought process is really not that elaborate. I think we liked how it sounded too, and that's pretty much why we were called that. You know, we just wanted to find, because we knew we wanted a band together, and we just wanted a name for it, and we just put two words together that felt good to us, and we like the fact that there's two words in the name, that it's not just like one word, so you can see like there's two personalities in there. But there's really nothing philosophical about it. It's just we like what it evokes. Can you say that? It just like when you hear the name of the band, I feel like it's very imaged, and it's very like it's soothing in a way, and I think that's what we liked.
Well, as the music critic, I'm always overlooking into things, so that's my bad. But I guess does Milk and Bone represent both of you together?
It does, but not for the reasons that you think.
Okay.
I mean, like, because I'm Milk in the band and Laurence is Bone, but I feel like the words sort of represent the other, so that's kind of strange. Because you know, for some reason I'm Milk. I couldn't even tell you why. And Laurence's last name is Bone, but it's not spelled like that. It just sounds like that. So that's why she's called that. But I feel like I'm a lot like tougher as a person. I get like I'm harder on people than Laurence is. So like that's why I would sort of be the Bone.
Okay. Yeah.
And Laurence is like super soothing and soft, and that's why I think she might be Milk. But it's actually the opposite. I don't know. It's just strange the way it's all coming together.
We'll find out in a few years how it all works out. But so I watched your latest video, Coconut Water. It came out last month. I love this song and I love the video.
Yay.
Thank you.
Can you walk me through this video? Because for me, it seems like the girl is trying to, I guess, comfort this young man, this gentleman who has a physical disability. And I'm not. That's what I get through it. But what you tell me, yeah.
So it's more about those teenage years when you start liking girls a lot, and you're really in your head, and you start. It's really around desire and fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
So this guy is really crazy about that girl, and the girl.
And they're sort of friends. She's sort of helping him with like homework and stuff. That's what like with the character we wanted.
Okay.
Basically, they're sort of friends, and he's like head over heels in desire over her.
Yeah, and then at the end, it's just what's happening in his head, and he goes crazy about her, and we wanted, and since I don't know if you saw the first video called New York.
Yes.
It's very black and white and very clean, very clean. So we wanted to go the opposite direction with the second video, and that's what we did, and we're pretty happy about it.
No, I think you guys did an amazing job with that. So I guess, why did you feel to shift gears in theme?
Well, the song is very different too.
Mm-hmm.
New York is very intense, and
It's a lot more dramatic. Also.
Exactly. And Coconut is more of a pop song, happy song, summer vibes. So of course we couldn't go in this same direction, but also we wanted something different, because since the beginning we had a lot of really clean press shots, photo shots of us. We had that video was very we were in it a lot, and we wanted to not be in a video, do something crazy, have fun, and we thought it fit with the song too.
Awesome.
And we wanted to surprise people a little.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think we're gonna like stay in that direction. We just wanted to take like a step to the left and see what it would do, and so we did. But I think for future visuals, we're gonna keep it a little bit more like the New York video, the first one. Yeah.
That's cool. And so on your website, like when I just look at your website, you have themes of which have like the Japanese tone to it. What is the inspiration behind that?
We're just crazy about Japan.
Have you been to Japan?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh.
And you know, we love just like quirky little things from Japan, like you get at those like $1 stores over there. Just like, and we love kigurumi, the sort of like PJs, animal things.
Onesies.
Like like onesies. We have like 2 of those each. We like being super clean in our visuals, but still we get to be crazy when we're just the 2 of us together. So that was our way, I think, to just like to put a little bit of our everyday life in our visuals.
I have not been to Japan before, but what would you recommend me do if I went there?
Oh, just Tokyo, karaoke, gyozas, and ramen.
Awesome.
Ramen.
Ramen.
Just do that every day.
Okay, I'm writing that down in my notebook right now. Thank you. So you come from a city, Montreal, that has rich musical history, especially in Canada. So tell me about how creating music there has enhanced and nurtured your group together.
It just it's a really small music community, so it's nice for us to be able to grow in that sort of market, you know, because I think it'd be much harder for us to start out in like New York or LA or even just like any city other than here.
Yeah.
And since the market is like divided in like French artists and also English artists, like there's a lot more French artists from Montreal that make it. I think I'm not even sure what I'm saying, but it helped us a lot to have like a really nice community around us and people helping us a lot and just giving us advice. I think that was priceless.
Yeah.
What musical influences did your parents have on you guys?
We had really different music backgrounds, actually. So I'll talk for myself. I was raised in surrounded by blues music and jazz music, and artists like Stevie Wonder, Etta James, and yeah. So when I was a kid, I was really surrounded by blues, jazz, and funk, pop music. But my parents were very open about everything, so I got to really listen to a lot of classical music too, some folk music, pretty much everything. I had a phase where I listened to only the Rolling Stones and the Doors. So I have to say that I was very lucky because my parents were really open about music, so I got to try a bit everything and to hear about every style also.
Awesome.
Yeah.
For myself, my parents listened to a lot of just like what was on the radio, you know, and so I listened to a lot of like Montreal and Quebec pop, like French stuff.
Yeah.
But also, my grandfather is like super into classical music, and he's like basically like a library. That's what he is, and I, from a very young age, was like exposed to that. So I think like my influences are like pop and classical, and jazz came a lot later when I actually went to school. But before that, I didn't know anything about it. So yeah, and classical music.
That's cool. So far, you guys have had quite a 2015, and you performed at South by Southwest. What are some crazy things that you saw or experienced there?
One of our great nights was actually really funny because it's the first time we met our booker from the States, and so we met him in a nice restaurant and started having drinks and eat some biscuits. And it's, you know how, have you ever been to South by Southwest?
Yes.
It gets crazy
Yeah, oh
really
yeah.
easily.
Yeah, and
So
hot.
we just kept drinking and drinking, and then finally we stopped at the liquor store and buy. What did we drink, Camille?
Maker's Mark.
Yeah, so we finished the bottle in his room, and then we go to a rap show, and then it was just one of this really crazy night. And now we work with him.
That's how it
Nice
works.
first business meeting to have, you know.
Yeah, it was a great meeting, great business meeting.
Yeah.
Speaking of music festivals, you will be performing at Canadian Music Week, and I believe it will be some of your first performances in Toronto.
It will be the first. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Let's be the first. It will.
It will be. Okay.
yeah.
What does that mean to you?
It means a lot. I mean, Drake is from there.
That's right. Drake represents Toronto.
Yeah, we're really excited. It's gonna be, and we're coming back also on the 30th
30th.
of May at Gladstone Hotel.
Yes.
So we'll be there twice this month, and it's really nice. We have some friends in the city too. We get to see, and yeah, it's gonna be fun to play the city. We never played there yet, so it's exciting.
Awesome. And so your full-length debut album, Little Mourning, dropped, and congrats on that. That's a big deal by itself. And
Thank you.
this is seriously one of the better albums that I've heard out of Canada, actually out of the entire 2015 so far. It's catchy,
Wow.
dreamlike, and consistently great. I can't even say that. And
Wow.
I recommend all of our listeners go download it from iTunes immediately after this show. But I guess what I want to ask is, how did it feel right before you released it?
Well, you know, it's been like a strange, because, you know, we released in March 2015, but I mean,
Yes.
it was like a really huge 2014 for us recording the album.
Yeah.
And honestly, like it's not like we had a great amount of time before we finished recording and when we released the album. So I think when we released, we were still on that high of just like work in progress, being in the studio, making sure everything's working out. And I think it was just like, for me, when I was on stage performing for our launch party, that I just felt like, okay, like this is like we're done with this album. I mean, like this is an object that we can just let it go and let it live and hope people
Yeah.
like it a lot. But I mean, like I didn't have the time to be nervous right before. It just like sort of hit me right when I was on stage in front of like a crowd of people that I didn't even know. Because, you know, before the launch at our shows, there was like some people, but it was always like friends of ours, you know, you like your mom front stage and stuff.
Of course.
And then for that event, it was like full house, packed, and I couldn't even recognize anyone I knew, which was really, really special.
Yeah.
Many musicians spend years and years making mistakes and playing with trial and error. And I know that both of you are best friends and have known each other, but how long did it take for you to find this sound? Like, what made you choose, like, what made you say this is the sound Milk and Bone will be?
That was a work in progress in the
Yeah.
studio. We didn't actually choose the sound. We just started working together and worked on something, because, you know, we both have some influences that are the same.
Yeah.
And we sort of agreed on like going in some direction, and then it just became our sound. But like never did we go like, oh, we're gonna sound like this and this and that. It just went like, okay, let's like jam together and get our synth in the studio and just like play layers, and then we just for each song it was like a different process. It was just going like, okay, where do we see this song going? Trying out some sounds, and then there it went, you know?
Yeah, and we didn't want to go crazy on perfection. So we allowed ourselves to do some mistakes, and I think that's part of a great album also is when you try to do everything perfectly, it won't be as perfect as it could be. So imperfection, I think it can be very touching and moving. And so most of our vocal tracks on the album are first takes.
I love that, and that
Yeah.
totally makes sense. The reception to this album has been really, really good from what I've seen, and I really like
Yeah.
it as well. What do you feel about this reception?
It's surprising. It's a
Did
great
you not
surprise.
expect it?
Not really. I think, you know,
What were
when
you
we
expecting?
Nothing at all, I think.
Mm.
Because we just wanted to make an album as friends together. And, you know, when we first worked on New York, the first song we released, we weren't we weren't even going to do an album or anything. It was going to be like either like just 2 singles or like an EP or something. And then, you know, as time went by, we just like every step we took, like we felt like people wanted us to take like the next step.
Yeah.
But that's like every step of the way. I mean, like when we first recorded in New York, we never thought that we'd be doing. Sorry about this.
Are you about to be arrested right now?
So yeah, I'm in handcuffs right now. But okay, sorry. Okay, it just passed. But yeah, we never expected to either have like a record deal with a Canadian record label or to have a record deal with an American record label. Like we weren't expecting anything. I mean, like just last month we opened for Christine and the Queens in New York, and like, you know, she's one of my favorite artists, and I never thought that I'd be playing on the same stage as her, you know? I think everything that we do is sort of a great surprise, and we don't take it for granted, and we're just, like, really, really happy every time something happens.
That's awesome. I'm glad that your dream is coming true.
It is.
And I have one last question. This is probably going to be a tough one, but what did you learn new about each other from this bonding process?
Oh, well, something I learned is that not everybody thinks the same way you do. And that was a great lesson because, you know, at the beginning, it's easy in friendship because you just have fun, but then you start doing business with your friend and you yourself, you think things work a certain way and it makes sense because that's how you think. And then finally your friend doesn't think the same way, and you kind of take for granted that she will, and she does not. So you kind of, it's a great mind opener because now I get to like really put my shoes more in other people's shoes to try to think a lot more of okay, so I think this way, would that person feel this way about it also, and trying to just be more open in general. So it's not really about Camille, but more about myself that I learned this, and I think I just want to try to be more open in my relationships with other people in general. So that's a great lesson I've learned for sure.
And I feel like, you know, it's not really about, because I mean I've learned like a bunch of stuff about Laurence, but like more like stories that we share late at night when we're about to go to sleep. Like, oh, did I ever tell you this? And I'm like, no. So like I've learned a lot of stuff like that, but I think like the more important thing is that we made a lot of compromise, and I feel like we've learned a lot about each other, but we've also made a lot of compromise, and we both changed a lot in our relationship to be able to work together. I feel like we're not the same people we were, and we're not in the same relationship we were 2 years ago, you know?
No.
Just because working together and spending a lot of time together, it really puts you in a position where you have to make compromises. Yeah. And you, if you want it to work, and if you want to keep a good friendship with, you know, your coworker / friend.
But
so
overall,
go ahead.
I just wanted to add, overall, I think it made us closer for sure.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, that's a great way to end off the show. Thank you so much, Camille and Laurence, for joining me today, and I wish you all the best in the future. You have a bright future ahead of you.
Thanks for having us.
Bye.
Bye.
I highly recommend that you download their new album, Little Mourning, on iTunes right now. You can find a link in the show notes, and you can find Laurence and Camille online at milkandbone.mu, Twitter at milk_N_bone, so it's milk_N_bone, and facebook.com/milkandbone. You can find myself on Twitter at Sean Chin, and you can follow the show on Twitter at Live in Limbo. Use the hashtag Capsule Podcast to join in on the conversation. Please subscribe to the show on iTunes, give us 5 stars, and leave some nice words in the review section. And as always, you can find the show notes at liveinlimbo.com/capsule. Take care.